You wanna play? Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. It's time for the mod collection update, and we're gonna kick things off with a Vertigo chest on an SG special. This is one of those really weird, exotic, out there finishes. It's not gonna be for everybody, but I've started to really appreciate these optical illusion guitars. It kind of reminds me of a black and white version of that stacker game that you find in arcades, because everything's just, slightly off, starting to fall over. But yet from far away, it's got some trippiness to it, but you've got kind of a whitish gray line pretty much all over. And then they adorn it with the black plastics on your pickup, clear pick guard, and even have the mixing of the black speed knobs with the white. A lacquered black-white fretboard would have been awesome. But look at that headstock. I love it when you get the interesting headstock veneer. It's just a small design reminiscent of what we saw down there, with the regular Gibson headstock logo. I was a little sad to see the body and neck not matching, but hey, at least they threw the white backplate on for good measure. But that didn't stop it from selling. Here's another popular one that was sent to me a lot this week, Burgundy Bullion 59 reissue. It kinda looks like a Spotlight Special, which looks like this if you're not familiar. I have 100 million videos on them. However, their stripe is a little bit less than the fretboard, so it just looks like a neck-through design, and that's what I love about them. This one is too wide. It looks like racing stripes to me. That's why I decided not to go for it. In fact, if you look really closely, you have kind of a paler yellow before you get to an orange center with the red exterior, so there's 3 different colors going there. But they did successfully make it look like the ugly Spotlight Special reissue that nobody likes. It's one of those guitars that I only want to own one in my collection just because of the history that it exists. But another reason why this one works so well is it's actually a quilt top. Not all that unlike what you could find, but it's a 59 reissue. You get the ABR1 bridge, long neck tenon, hide glue construction. They opted not to have the pick guard. They changed your knobs out to kind of the 80s styles. And the backside had some interesting wood grain patterns. Very swirly, not as heavily aniline dyed as some of them are. It kind of looks faded out. They didn't do anything too fancy to our headstock. And we have one of those replacement serial numbers on it. Looks like number 165. But next up, a gorgeous Caribbean Oasis. The base model of this one is a 68 reissue custom, so you're going to get that slightly bigger neck profile, have the reduced headstock angle, you get the ABR1 bridge, long neck tenon, all that good stuff, except for, hey, it's been Blue Widowified, so you got this dark teal center with a light blue binding color, speed knobs, left your pickguard out of the equation, uncovered bridge pickup, with a nice dark ebony fretboard with mother of pearl inlays. But the light blue treatment continues onto the face of the headstock with an interesting choice of a black plastic truss rod cover and double ring Clusen tuner tips. Although the back looks like it might be a semi-gloss / satin finish. Now that I see the whole thing, I'm wondering, do those tuners actually work? They kind of stand out a little bit too much against the blue. What they should have did is shot the tuner tips over in the same light blue hue. But here's a good look of what the body looks like. The mahogany's a darker color, it's going to look like this, kind of a teal. But spray the same thing over white and it looks aqua blue. But more supreme fun with electric yellow. So, it's your regular wine red Les Paul Supreme from the Modern Collection. Except for, they resprayed it over yellow. So you're gonna have yellow over the red and yellow showing on the binding. It's kind of a clashing yellow with the particular hue of gold that they have for the hardware. But the headstock, yeah, that's cool. And I can see why they called it electric yellow. It super stands out against that red on the binding. And whoa, hey, I didn't see that on launch day. Extra extended stinger, just to spice up the back a little bit since they didn't have any binding to spray over here. But then they also offered a 61 SG and Evil Scarlet Satin. So far, I think that's a dangerously mysterious name for a relatively plain looking SG. But hey, it's got gold hardware, so I guess that's different. Not seeing anything evil on the headstock. And the back looks pretty normal outside of our satin reef-in. If anything, I'd say Razz Fusion looks more evil. It's got that really dark metallic red coloring with the uncovered black bobbined pickups, your numberless knobs, and okay. Look closely, there is a slight purple outer layer. But then we've got the Moto backplates and the continuation of that metallic paint job. But wow, that headstock looks so strange because A, we've got a black plastic USA truss rod cover on it. You still have the historic style tuner, but then the tuner buttons are so ambered and aged over, but yet they look slightly smaller and rounded over. This is insanely crooked, but then you have this really beautiful piercing mother of pearl Gibson logo popping out against the black. But hey, Lefty's got to have some cereal. Honey Nut Gloss. 2700 looks like a slash appetite for destruction to me. You've got some nice wood grain underneath your flamage. But there we go, that's why it's honey nut and not slash, because it's got the natural colored back. And for some reason, those moto backplates look slightly aged, so it works. And look at that neck. I can tell that's gonna have like a little bit of candy cane flame striping to it. Not a lot, but enough to be happy about. And that'll never not look weird to a right-handed guitar player. Now we've got a pretty expensive Ice Pop Blue, but that's because it's a 61 custom shop reissue. Something about that freezing blue finish being in satin just kind of makes it look cheap, especially with the white plastics. But you go to the custom shop SGs for the sharpness of their horns, and that's a really dark fretboard. And yeah, they had no tenon cover. But it was a complete back refinish. They put the cheap junior style tuner tips on the tuners, which gives you an interesting aesthetic, but hey, at least they left the truss rod cover alone. And that clear backplate just solidifies things. I have a feeling that one's gonna stay in the shop a while. And our next one is called Delectable Red. Doesn't look that exciting at first, but hey, this thumbnail over here looks exciting. But clicking on this photo, it looks like there might be a slight metallic sheen to the new satin finish. And the cream plastics always do look nice on red guitars. But the face was pretty much left alone. But they went for the cream stinger on the back. That's really hard to read the serial number, but I bet it's there. I'm all for stingers, but does that really work on this guitar? I'm not so sure. Okay, I see the inspiration now, probably because of the binding. Sometimes you have to appreciate stuff like that in person, but hey, did you know you can get a Gibson branded credit card now? The cheapest or most expensive Gibson of your life. Use them right, they pay you. Use them wrong, you can really dig yourself into a hole. Then we can round out the USA side of things with Deep Cherry 335. If I was going to call a guitar evil, it would be that one. The blacked out vibe with that dark coloring, F-holes reflecting the shadows underneath. But even the headstock was ebonyified. But I think that was mainly just a hardware change on this one. Now let's hop over to France. We've got some guacamole. Green guitars can be kind of divisive. I mean, this one's closer towards the realm of lime green, but not quite there. I feel the black plastics tame it down a bit. The speed knobs do look a little bit crammed on an SG, though. Here's a look at our headstock. Looks like regular Gibson USA, as we can confirm by the backside. And now we can appreciate the candid photo shots together. Kind of looks like it has a silver base coat before they shoot it with the green, so you're going to have a little bit of a metallic nature to it. But if green's not your style, they also had Tempo Teal. Those would pair really well together, but if I had to choose one, I think it would be this because you can still see the wood grain underneath it, and the witch hat knobs are looking sweet. And when you flip it over to the back, you get the continuation of everything that we just saw. The raw open pore finishes tend to work pretty good on SG guitars if you can get them for the right price. But just because you can see the wood grain doesn't necessarily mean you're going to feel it. It depends if it's a full gloss, translucent varnish finish, or is it raw satin. But this one was kind of fun. Carbonated Carambola, which appears to be a drink made out of star fruit. I love exotic fruits, but this was one I love the shape of, but just never enjoyed. But it's kind of interesting what they've done here. So A, it appears to be some sort of a Les Paul reissue that only has one humbucker in the bridge. It's got the ABR1 stop bar, just your one knob. But then you got that kind of star fruity finish with just a little bit of brown around the edges because those things are always going bad. But then you come to the headstock. It looks like somebody just kind of painted it on there. What I would have liked to have seen is just a cross section of a star fruit. You know, something similar to this. And then have the lines and the seeds. But maybe that has something to do with the drink. To me, it just looks like a compass type thing. But whoa, we flip it on over to the back. It's a dark cherry red and it's destroyed serial number 111. That's some really attacking metal flake in the finish. And primarily seems to be blue and silver. And that is a 58 reissue, so that means it's going to have a pretty chunky neck profile. Viewing it from the side, those colors work a little bit better together than I thought. However, it would never be my first choice. Well, if you want something a bit more traditional, you had Cosmo Sparkle. which has the very similar blue and white sparkle job, but this time over an ebony finish. And the back again is cherry red, but we've got a stinger. But not just a regular black one, it's also sparkly. And it's a Gibson USA product, so a little bit less expensive as compared to that other one, and you get all the different pickup combinations. And then lastly, metallic cherry. This one's very traditional, with not too much going on for it. Isn't this just from the Custom Color series? They certainly have something similar in the sparkling burgundy. But now our demo shop's only the USA side uploaded. This thing was tempting. We've already documented all the dark purple bursts that I need to do, but this top was fascinating. Like, it's not what I would normally think if I wanted a quilt and or a flame top, but it's so bubbly and weirdly figured. I just thought that was fantastic for this particular colorway, especially the farther away you get it from it. Somebody picked up one of those 80s white flying V's. But whoa, what? Huh. I guess we know why that one ended up in the demo shop. They did the 70s flying V headstock on it. Wow, that one is kind of weird. I see why it's sold now. Then I thought the 60 standard was pretty nice. Really tight pinstripey top, all blacked out. Pretty decent price for a 59 standard if you like that dark bourbon fade. And a regular 50 standard that I just thought had interesting wood grain. Lots of rings and a little bit of flame. But then, random Jeff Beck Les Paul here. Dual humbuckers, wrap tailpiece, black finish, low logo, all the good stuff. And then lastly, kind of an interesting SG Modern. This would be great for a church band. I personally see like a cross right here within our flame pattern. It becomes more apparent the further away you get from it. Like, it's not in your face, but you can kind of see it. All right, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed this week's recap. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.